Hey, what's going on? It's your boy Mattice, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, what's my brethren? Cincinnati, Ohio. Shout out to Cincinnati, Ohio. Speaking of Cincinnati, Ohio, another boxing prospect review for the third straight one from somebody from Ohio. So shout out to Ohio. We're going to talk about Mr. Thomas Mattice. All right, he recently fought on Showbox. I had a chance to watch him fight for the first time. He's 11-0. 9 knockouts, campaigning in the lightweight division. And he recently had a fight against a guy by the name of Rolando Chinea. Now, Rolando Chinea, I like it. I'm not going to lie. I watched this fight. It was a very exciting fight, probably one of the most exciting fights I've watched in quite some time. You had Rolando Chinea. From what I saw in that fight, even though they wound up losing to Mattice, Chinea was a great pressure fighter. Not great, but he was a solid pressure fighter. He was on this guy all night, was having success a lot in the early rounds, but Mattice stayed very patient, looking for openings. Maybe he was losing a lot of the early rounds, gave away probably a lot of the early rounds. But as the fight wore on, he got a little bit better. He started counterpunching a little more, and he's went to the body a little more. Then he started landing his jab a little more. And what I saw from Mattice, I saw a guy that wasn't the best, wasn't the most skilled guy in the world. Has skills, no doubt about it, but in the overall landscape of boxing, not the most skilled guy I've ever seen in the world. But what I saw was a guy that has character. I saw a guy that has character. Now, is this guy ever going to be a champion? That's not for me to say. I mean, usually if I think a guy's going to be a champion, I'll just come out and say it. But I'm not going to say, I haven't watched enough of his fights, and I don't really see anything too crazy with his skill set to make me think otherwise. But what I do see, something that champions do have, is character. And I saw that in that fight against Chinea, a fight where he gave away a lot of the early rounds, a fight where he wasn't really too sharp early on. But it was a fight with Chinea where, towards the latter part, he got the stoppage, I believe it was in the, let me see. He got the stoppage in the, can't remember when he got the stoppage, but he got the stoppage towards the latter stages of the fight. Round 7. He got it in the 7th round of the fight. It was an 8-round fight. He got it in the 7th. And before the stoppage, man, it was one of the more sensational stoppages you'll see. He threw like 50 punches. Like, I'm not even joking with you. You can count the punches. This dude threw like a 50 punch combination. It was a barrage of shots, which ultimately ended with Mattice getting slumped with the left hook and the referee calling it off for a TKO victory. And statement performance. When we talk about that performance right there, you had Ronald Ellis and the other guy from New York that Steve Farho was hyping up on that night, fighting in the main event of that card. That fight was whatever. Then you had Montana Love, who I was very excited about, and he delivered a good performance against Samuel Tsunami Tay. But this fight right here, this man's performance stole the show that night against Chinea. And I want to see more of him. And I did some research on him. And I learned that he's a pretty decent fighter. Now, he's from the Ohio area, and this is a guy in Thomas Mattice that he won the Ohio State Golden Gloves 3 times in his weight class. He didn't have the longest amateur career, but had a good amount of fights. Had about 90 amateur fights. He won 72, and he had 72 wins and 18 losses in the amateurs. He also apparently works at a grocery store stocking shelves. I found that on his promotional company's website. He has a regular 9 to 5, and I respect that, man. When you can work the 9 to 5 and still dedicate yourself to boxing, I respect the hell out of that. So shout out to Thomas Mattice, stocking them shelves. And then he also he sparred the likes of Robert Easter Jr., just like Alicia Bumgardner has, being that he's from Ohio. And in the amateurs, right now, he did lose to a couple notable fighters in the amateurs. The guys he lost to in the amateurs are both from Chicago, one being dead. He lost to Ed Brown in the amateurs, and he lost to Eddie Ramirez in the amateurs. Eddie Ramirez, you guys may know him for being the guy that got stopped by Antonio DeMarco on PBC. But overall, man, I think this is a fighter in Thomas Mattice that I just want to see more of. I don't know how good he's going to be. When I saw him, I don't really think he's going to be the creme de la creme of the division, but I do think he can be a contender. He can definitely be a contender, and boxing's a great sport because even though I might not think the guy might maybe become a world champion, he can still prove me wrong. And all that matters. It doesn't even matter what I say. It matters what happens in the ring on the night. And I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with this guy. So hopefully Showbox keeps putting him on more cards. I want to see more of him. And I think while he may not be the most skilled fighter in the world, he's definitely got some championship level qualities that I'm looking forward to seeing more of on Showbox and in the future. So that's my review of Thomas Mattice. He had a really great fight. He had a really great fight with Rolando Chinea on Showbox. If you haven't seen it, I would recommend you go watch it. And that's my opinion on him. And let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Take the time to subscribe, and you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Dania. So until next time, take care, guys.